You just did something spectacular. You hit play on TechVibe at Pittsburgh to get your front row seat to Pittsburgh's tech and innovation ecosystem. I'm your host, Jonathan Kirsting, with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, and I've been telling stories across Pittsburgh's tech industry for nearly 30 years now. What does it take to secure a stadium, school district, or high-risk construction site, and do it all from a single command center? Well, in an age where physical security must work seamlessly with AI, video analytics, and smart access systems, Intertech CI is at the forefront of comprehensive integration. Whether it's protecting a public venue, a pharmaceutical plant, or a school, they're building systems that do more than monitor. They mitigate risk, save money, and they even save lives. I am super stoked to have Ron Petnuch, President and CEO of Intertech CI, join me today so you can learn how Intertech CI turns legacy security systems into intelligent, future-proof ecosystems. You can discover how AI-driven cameras, access control, and building systems are being integrated to protect everything from construction zones to stadiums. And hear how a Pittsburgh-born company is growing nationwide while staying true to a mission of safety, service, and selective growth. So keep on listening to see how Intertech CI is redefining security, not by selling cameras, but by solving real-world problems with smart, scalable solutions. Let's welcome Ron to TechVibe. Ron, so happy to have you here at the Huntington Bank Studios hanging out with me. I always say this is the best place. We get to tell the stories of some of the coolest companies hanging out here in Pittsburgh. It's where the front row seat happens as far as I'm concerned. We're all here to learn about you today. So thanks for being here today.
Good. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for having us. Terrific.
Most definitely. So before we start recording this, I always love talking to my guests just to learn a little bit about what they're doing, stuff I maybe wouldn't be able to pick up in just a regular conversation. And when you reminded me how you're based in Chateau, I thought that's just so cool. Like you guys have been a pioneer in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And rumor has you have like 60 people hanging out there as part of your overall operation.
We
So
do.
that's
Yes.
why I think I would never know that. This is why I'm glad I'm talking to you today, so we can learn more about what you guys are up to.
Okay. Very good. So everybody knows about alarm companies.
Yeah.
So security business.
Surely.
And we have some very large alarm companies based in Pittsburgh. Guardian, Vector would be another one.
Yeah.
We're slightly different than that. We're what's called a security integration
Okay.
company. And we're focused more on commercial. Whereas they would do a residence or they would do a small business.
I believe I have Guardian at my house right now.
There you
if I'm
go.
not mistaken. Yeah.
And our focus is more on larger
Yeah. Okay.
venues and larger buildings. So we do things like stadiums, airports,
The big place.
city infrastructure.
And like rumor has it, you're kind of hanging out with Acrisure, which is
Well,
pretty
we do.
cool.
We do the work at Acrisure.
That's
They're
one
one of our-
I got to tout you on that. That's a cool Pittsburgh project.
And it is a Pittsburgh project and dates back quite a few years. They've been a client. The Steelers have been a client for
forever.
quite a while.
Yeah.
And talk about a north side thing. There it is.
100%. That's how I think your Chateau location is perfect for your location and proximity to Acrisure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So to big spaces is where you guys obviously
Correct.
keep them secure.
Yeah, and if you were to boil it down,
Yeah.
so what does that mean? Well, what we do is we integrate different services. Today, when you go into a building, you have an access control system, right? You have a card or you have a credential that gets you into the building. And that industry and the coordination of that industry with the systems that work in buildings has been growing and growing and growing. And it's not going to go away. So, for example, if you go into PPG Tower downtown, that you register, they give you a card to get your access system. If you're a worker in there, you wand your card, you go through a turnstile.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The turnstile then coordinates with the elevator.
Oh, okay.
The elevator comes down, reads that it's you.
Okay.
And they
It
know
knows
you-
it's okay to open the doors.
And it's okay to open the doors, and there's no buttons on the elevators anymore. It just knows it's you, and it's taking you to the 15th floor, or it's taking you to, the Schneider Downs or the
Right, yeah.
or the Tucker Ahrensberg offices, because that's where
I
you
feel
work.
like I feel like you've been there before.
That was a project that we actually did. So, which is an easy way, the integration of here's my fob or here's my credential to get into the building. It coordinates with the elevator system, takes you to where you're supposed to be. And it's all It's a system integration to secure.
It's like an ecosystem of security. All these things have to be integrated and come together. And you guys do that work.
That is correct.
And what I think is so cool about it is it seems like it's so simple, but it's not. It's very complicated in order to make those things happen.
It is, because the systems can be disparate.
Absolutely.
And as you can imagine, when you have a client who has this access control system, which is a legacy system, and now they want to change something on that system, and they want to integrate it with their video system in the building, you got to get all that stuff to talk to one another.
Yeah.
So it's different than going into a home, putting up a panel and saying, okay, the alarm system went off, we're calling police.
You've got 3 doors to monitor, and some windows.
Now you have to make it work. So we're in the middle of working on a proposal. I can't say who it is,
sure.
but they have some legacy, some not. It's a public venue. They have tens of thousands of people that go through that location. And when we're looking at their need, what we're trying to do is say, okay, you want a new access control system. What system do you pick? How will that system blend with the other systems you have in place? And oh, by the way, we're trying to future-proof it a little bit and say,
that's what I was going to bring up. Exactly.
Yeah, you're going to want this to interact with your video platform at some point. We need to pick the right one. And that's what we do. We don't sell stuff.
Sell systems.
We sell systems.
Yeah.
We view ourselves more as a professional services company.
Yeah.
And when we go to visit a client, we do an assessment. Okay, this is how it works. And then we'll decide, we're kind of selective. Like, does this fit us or not fit us? If they're just looking for somebody to come in and hang a couple cameras, that's a better, you're selling cameras. Of course we sell equipment, but that's not really what we're selling.
No, you're looking to provide that whole solution.
That is correct.
And that just makes it so much fun because each client's different. And
right.
Their setups are different, their equipment's different, their locations are different things. But at the end of the day, it's keeping people safe.
Correct.
Right? So this stuff really has to matter, and it has to work because literally it's people's safety.
And we're at the Pittsburgh Technology Council. The speed with which this stuff is changing is unbelievable.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, because it's like you have to be really looking towards the future, because when people make these investments, they can't change this equipment out every 18 months.
They cannot.
Yeah, so they got to make sure that can adapt to and integrate with the newer technologies as they happen.
That is correct.
That becomes like, oh my God.
The camera that we were using 7 years ago today is obsolete.
It did completely. Exactly.
Right? And now you're putting AI on the camera, which didn't exist there. But they were basic analytics when we started out with that.
But now the analytics are just ridiculous what you can do, right?
And it's still, it's still happening. So one of the things we do, for example, is we secure construction sites.
Okay. Yeah.
So the developer or the general contractor has to control a construction site. So we have these things, we call them PSUs, portable security units. We hang them on the construction site and design it. And then that system, when everybody leaves the construction site at night, that system comes up and is working. And the analytics on the system says there's a person, he's just crossed the fence, or this thing is moving over here. Now, we started doing that in the oil and gas business, securing drill pads.
Yeah, I was going to say well sites and stuff like that.
And the monitoring station would sit there and look at it and say, oh, that's not a person, that's just a bear. Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. It's like, okay.
Well, make sure he's not there in the morning.
This is a little different. And we did a building here recently on the north side, right across the street from the stadium. Well, you can imagine 40,000 people coming out of the stadium. This thing's being secured. Nobody can walk in there. It's after hours. We perform that work to reduce the risk for the builders and the construction people or the developer, so that, theft, vandalism, all the
above on that stuff. Yeah.
To minimize that. And we find ourselves oftentimes working with insurance companies.
100%.
Because they want to mitigate their risk.
Yeah. They want to make sure that they're not paying out on claims they don't have to pay out on, because.
And then you get involved with the security people from the insurance company. It's wild. We work with one of the big builders risk companies, and by city, the things that they know, right? So Phoenix, Arizona is the arson capital of the world. We need all the fire detection in that construction.
That's crazy.
I'm like, Phoenix, Arizona?
Like, yes.
I said, Ron, this is their security head. I'm serious. You look at the statistics, you go, there's causing fires down there all the time. So, we're doing something there that protects.
Is Philadelphia like more of a smash and grab type of place? Like, yeah.
And obviously urban settings as opposed to suburban settings, and so on and so forth. But here's the goal is we're helping them mitigate risks. We're servicing them. We're not about selling units or selling cameras. We're about, okay, what's the goal here?
Exactly.
And how do we facilitate that
You happen to be
goal?
using a variety of technologies. You bring them together as needed based upon what the requirements are, which is different for everybody. So you're just not like, put a couple cameras up, you'll be good.
Right. And look, to some degree, that is what a lot of people think, right? Or they will go to an industry manufacturer's event and say, well, I want that camera.
Like,
okay, well, that's a 360 view camera. Why do you want that? Because look how cool it is. Right? Yeah, but if you're mounting against the building on some, you don't need 360. You only need 180. Why would you buy that camera? Now, that's an oversimplification.
But that's how it works.
But when they come to us, it's like, look, you don't spend all that money. Here's the places we'll need to use the 365s. Let's put this together. By the way, how's this going to connect to your command center and your blah, blah, blah. So, that's
fascinating.
That's what
I think
do.
about how like so many buildings just need that. This is the day and age we're at where security is absolutely paramount. And it's not just a plug and play thing. It's like, no, you need a whole like ecosystem of equipment and solutions that come together. You guys do that. And what I'm curious about is like, you guys have rebranded yourself, which I think is really exciting because I think your rebrand kind of really shows this integration as far as it is. Tell me what was some of the reasoning behind the Interbrand, with now just Intertech.
Well, some of it is history, right? We started out as Intertech Security.
Yeah.
More as a traditional, our industry has evolved. So it was just called Intertech Security LLC.
Right.
Then you start moving to this convergence that's going on with all the technology, the building systems. We just talked about elevators.
Gotcha.
And so you're really an integration company. So we picked this name, and then we merged with a company called Fedora.
I remember that. Absolutely.
Now, Fedora's business was those portable security units.
Yes.
Right. And the name Fedora is like Dick Tracy.
Yeah, there was the hat.
And we watched these
kind
security
of detective
sites,
sleuth type of thing going on. Yes.
And they were a smaller company, but you're trying to, when you merge something like that, get we're all part of the history and putting the company together. So we went back to Intertech's CI. The CI is comprehensive integration.
Love it.
So as we look at it, we needed to get back to our roots, which is integration. The other thing of putting the companies together is Fedora was just doing the perimeter. Now all of a sudden we're in conversations with some of the biggest developers in the world. And it's like, hey guys, you do realize that building you're putting up, we can put some of the systems in those buildings, right?
Exactly.
And I've had conversations with major construction companies in Houston, whatever. It's like, oh, I thought you guys just did perimeter security. No, we're an integration company.
Complete integration.
Oh man, I need to know that.
That's why I love adding the CI.
So we put integration right into our name, Intertech CI, comprehensive integration, and we do it like Intertech to the power of CI, right?
Exactly.
Which is a little play, but it
amplifies.
Works. That's right.
I think it's fantastic. It's always exciting to get a refresh on the brand. It just puts new energy into the company as well too, where you really focus on what you guys do best. And that's why I get so impressed with this is the amount of technology, the disparate technologies you put together. Like, it's like, my goodness, like I said, it's never the same day twice for anybody, I'm assuming, that's working at Intertech CI.
It is not, and everything's changing, and it's an exciting place to work, right? Every day when you come in, something has changed. 100%. This new technology, that new technology, how do you deploy the technology? The technology, though, is a tool. What we're really trying to do is solve problems and provide solutions to customers. So when you're talking to a stadium, right, I'm talking to the stadium about an access control system. A practical problem for them, for example, is that you have all these, the guys that run around the stadium selling beer or popcorn or whatever it is they're selling, right? Well, they have to go back and get restocked. Well, they have to go to a special room Well, who's allowed in that room and not allowed in that room?
Gotcha.
They have a credential. They can get in.
Swipe and get in, and they know it's the beer guy.
And it coordinates with the video system, so there's a record of who went in, how.
Oh, yeah. So
they're
actually they match it up. So if something were to happen, they could be like,
Sure.
That's so. I just love it. That's
and
just
you
so
have
fascinating.
you have a command center inside that venue, and that command center is staffed 24/7.
Okay.
But during an event, it's even more robust.
Of course. Yeah.
So you have a camera system, you have vendors walking around the stadium, you have ushers that are showing people seats.
Mhm.
You have the ability to put analytics on a camera,
I wanted
so
to
if something is going on, it'll go
Exactly.
focus on that.
That's what I wanted to nerd out with you on, is the analytics. I'm thinking like you're gathering all this data about how this building is operating, actually, how people are
Mhm.
moving through it. They can start learning better ways to make the building more efficient, more safe, based upon movement and where people are
Correct.
at certain times during a game. That's just crazy.
So think about
Yeah.
the integration with an elevator system. So now, if your credential doesn't allow you, or it only allows you on these 3 floors,
Mhm.
you're controlling who gets up to that floor,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? And you have a record of what happened because all that data is being collected. Gee, Ron screened in at 10 o'clock. Ron screened out at 5 o'clock. There is a record that's happening. So in that case, you're securing the building. But here's the other
Yeah,
thing
keep
that
going.
happened with access control, right?
Surely.
So you're a manufacturer. We have pharmaceutical companies that are clients of ours. They're manufacturing, oftentimes regulated substances,
So you ensure that people
right? And so there were
Yeah.
actually rooms where you have to be authorized to be in that room. You're not allowed to be in that room by yourself. You have to, these are only the people, there has to be 2 of you at one time. There's not
Okay.
allowed one per. So it's screening, letting somebody in, recording it on video, verifying who it is.
Okay.
A simpler application of that is, you use your access control card, which if you're an hourly employee, it's your
timesheet.
it's
right?
your timesheet.
Yeah.
And so that's feeding all this data in HR, or it's feeding all this data that you have to keep to satisfy regulators, the DEA or the FDA. Or
I'm glad they don't do it at the tech council. They'd see at the coffee machine a lot. Yeah, they start docking my pay.
How are you supposed to keep functioning? You can't drink coffee.
But I didn't even think about this, like these very sensitive work environments, like at a pharmaceutical manufacturer where people have access to illicit things that they could take or steal, and that you can ensure that like that's not happening. And wow, so the end cases, or so the use cases seem almost endless. Like it's pretty.
They are.
amazing.
One of the greatest things for us is understanding a client's business.
Right.
So
Because you really have to understand the way they work and the flow and the logistics.
what's happening there?
Yeah, I mean, to a lot of minutia at that point, in order to put the systems in the right places at the right time to do the right things.
Video systems can be used for safety purposes or manufacturing purposes, or they can be used for security purposes. One of the neat things I learned when all the companies came to town to do the Marcellus and the fracking and what that meant, we learned all about the process and how it worked. And we had one of the companies come to us and say, look, we need the video. They have a green area, a yellow area, and a red area that you're not allowed into. And one of the engineers from one of the fracking companies said, well, let me explain to you how all this piping and this pressure works. That's pretty cool. He said, you know how you have a leak in your hose and you have the water squirting out? He said, if a leak happens in one of those, it cuts your leg off.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's some high pressure, right?
So he said, yeah, so we don't want people walking around in there. And when something goes wrong, we want to be able to see it without sending a person in.
Right.
Well, we created a trailer with camera systems so they could watch those systems. And it's like, oh, okay. And when you do something like that from a business, that's who we are.
Yeah. And to me, it goes back to keep people safe, man. Simple as that. I mean,
and you feel good about it.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, we feel good about what we do.
A lot of purpose behind that.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, that is just so interesting. I'm just thinking about all the different industries you work with. I don't think there's anything you don't work with as far as that is.
Yes, and you begin to learn some industries, and you learn what some of their challenges are that helps you. So going into a public venue, we have enough large public venue clients
Right.
that we can feel our way around what's going on in those places. And here's some things that we suggest.
You can get the basic coverage going, but then as you learn how they really operate, you can then take that and then really tailor it into what their needs would be to make it the absolute safest.
Right. So if you take a sports team like the Steelers, or you take a school district like Pittsburgh Public Schools, they have security people that work for them that are ex-police officers, ex-FBI, right? Working with them, and they understand how they have to protect something. We then can bring them a product that says, here's how I can make this easier. Here's how this can work. So that I'll give you a little practical story.
Tell me
right?
something. Yeah, I love these things.
You're in the stadium. The command center is functioning. All of a sudden, there's a disturbance. Cameras move to the disturbance. Cameras zero in.
Okay.
There's a person in the aisle that's had a heart attack. The ushers are there, right? The command center says, the AED's up here. They contact a person on the staff, get an AED down to that.
You can tell them
right?
exactly where to go. Right.
There comes the guy running down the aisle with the AED, right?
That's what I'm saying.
And there's a doc who was in the stands. He's working on this person. And they're fine.
That's crazy.
Right? You save somebody's life.
Right.
To us, that's
why you come to work every day,
what
man. That's what it's all about.
protecting a school.
I was going to ask you about schools in particular, because obviously with school safety, I mean, it's just crazy the amount of security that we need. But you guys can do this. I mean,
right.
What do you do with school districts? I mean, I can imagine, like, man, you're talking about our children here for crying out loud. Like, I can't think of anything more important than that. Like,
there are lots of regulations and standards that the schools function with. And we often get involved with architects and engineers in the development of the schools to put the systems in place. You know, most school districts don't want you to create a prison.
Well, you gotta have this balance of security,
so
but
there's a balance that goes on.
Not so much of a prison feel for the kids. Yeah.
Right. Like, but we get into video systems, we get into detection systems, the fire systems, you can put access control systems in so that somebody who is in the office sees the problem, hits a button, and everything's locked down.
Yeah.
Nobody can get in, nobody can get out. We do all kinds of things like that, narrowing entry into the school by visitors, right? One of the things they'll do in a bank often is you go into the little vestibule, and then they see that you're a troublemaker, and they lock the vestibule
Yeah,
down.
they can keep you together.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We've done those kinds of things at schools too.
That's what it comes down to, right?
So we do, I think I'm allowed to say this, Pittsburgh Public Schools is one of our big customers, has been for a long time.
I love hearing that.
Fire systems,
everything. Okay.
Fire systems, camera systems, access control systems.
Awesome.
That's a 5,000 to 6,000 camera deployment across their school district.
Yeah, this whole complete integration thing just makes more and more sense as you talk to us.
And look, it involves energy, right? So if lights are going on, and we have if somebody comes into the building, the air conditioning system in that section of the building doesn't need to go on if nobody's there. Well, you use that access card.
So you can actually tie that into like the HVAC system, and you can save make efficiency for that. So yeah, it ties into so many things. So I feel like your future's got to be just so bright.
We think it is.
Yeah, just because I think about how these use cases keep piling up and how you can keep scaling this into different areas. I'm thinking, like, are you guys hiring? I have to imagine you're always hiring.
We're always looking for people.
Okay.
And I will tell you, that's one of I'm in a Vistage group, CEO group here in Pittsburgh.
Sure.
There's 18 or 19 of us in that group. If you pull the group, one of our hardest things is finding employees.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Getting the right talent.
And getting the right talent, the right training, the right backgrounds. That's getting, our population stuff that's going on is is
we need more people here, man.
yeah,
It's true. I mean,
right.
it's like
And so you're
lucky.
looking
We're lucky for just not shrinking. And
correct.
exactly.
And
Yeah, it's
but
hard.
it's a challenge. It's a challenge even in our Texas and in Florida offices because it's a skilled worker, it's a trained worker, and it's tough to find employees.
I imagine it would be.
Right.
Yeah.
So our view is we're on the lookout all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, if we can find a young engineer or a technician, we want to talk
Get
to
them on
them.
staff. Absolutely.
Right. So
yeah.
From that perspective, we're in growth mode. The other way we're in growth mode is that, we had nothing in Texas 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. We started this office, and now all of a sudden, it's, I don't know, we're probably doing $15 million or so in revenue.
That's amazing.
A year in Texas. And again, our goal isn't to be the super biggest. Our goal is to grow and focus on our customer and provide a quality service to the customer. We're very selective and strategic about how we'll walk away from a job because it doesn't fit.
How awesome is that you can basically, quotation marks, afford to do that because you can take on the business, where you can do the best job.
Right.
And have the most impact. And
that's a cultural thing for us as a company.
Totally.
We like to do the right thing the right way the first time. Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's our deal.
For sure.
And if you don't fit, if you just want us to come in and hang a bunch of cameras, you're probably not our client.
Not exactly.
If you want to come in and help, we need to evaluate this and what's the best way to do it. Now, all of a sudden, we're understanding your business, you're understanding what we do, and there's a partnership that forms across those. So we want to be big enough to matter. It's actually one of our clients said this.
Okay.
We recently did a marketing thing where we went out to clients and said,
surely.
And we had a third party do it. And one of the clients came back to us and says, they're big enough to matter, but small enough to care.
There you go.
Right. So those of us sitting around the table hearing that report the day it was delivered, like, yeah, that's what we're about.
Yeah. It's like, we don't have everything.
But we want to be able to help people, and we want them to feel good about working with us and us to feel good about working for them.
It's fantastic.
If this is just a project and a new building's going up and somebody says, here's the spec, here's the thing, just put the cameras in and the heck with you.
Don't want to do that. Yeah, I love it, man. And that's
just not who we are.
Exactly. And the best part of this all is you're doing this right out of Pittsburgh, which I think is so awesome. And it's been so much fun putting a spotlight on this great work that you're doing, keeping us safe, whether you're in schools, stadiums, public spaces. It's like construction site. It's like you guys have it covered.
Right.
And you're just quietly doing that back there in the chateau part of Pittsburgh. So.
And all the stuff you see in the headlines, AI and the communication capabilities, we're not the inventors or the manufacturers of that, so to speak. We're users of all
You're
that.
Putting that into everything that you got.
That's right.
That's
So one of the biggest things, we're all looking at all the AI stuff that's going on with, hey, here's a way to produce a financial document, to write a piece of marketing, whatever. Our big use of AI in our company is the stuff that's going on cameras, right? The last mile still is a human being, but the way that the AI has been able to impact how a person in a command center is watching what's going on, right, is huge, and it's more efficient. So you don't need 45 security guards at the stadium at night. What you need is a smaller group who are more qualified. You can pay them better,
right?
Save the company money, and they're watching the camera systems. And when the kids jump the fence in left field, right, to run the bases in the middle of the night, they've been over partying, they've had too many beers, and the college kids, and
I wouldn't know anything about that.
We're going to go into the stadium. Right? So they jump the fence and whatever. The guy in the command center saying, uh-oh, that camera came up. What's going on? Well, the camera came up because the AI said somebody's going. Here comes those kid again. By the time they get around third base, they slide into home plate. Security guard's saying, you're out of here.
Slide into a pair of handcuffs.
That's a little bit of a fun story, but that's part of
the basics of how it works. Yeah, absolutely.
It's exactly
how
example. That is functioning.
So much fun. I'm so glad we got to talk today.
Good.
Ron, you are the best. Just love the fact you're doing this here in Pittsburgh. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm a Pittsburgh boy. They talk about Pittsburgh. Who was I with recently? I was with somebody yesterday who is from San Francisco.
Okay.
And he's talking about the things that are going on in San Francisco. Silicon Valley's
Sure.
out there. And there's a reason that a lot of the big companies have facilities. I mean, CMU, it's our neighborhood, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So our infrastructure, our resources in this city, both physical and intellectual and financial, put us in a pretty good spot.
I couldn't agree with you more.
We're in a pretty good spot.
And that's why we love telling the stories, to talk about why we're such a great spot. So I appreciate everyone for listening. Just remind everyone, this has been Jonathan Kirsten with the Pittsburgh Tech Council. And if you want your front row seat to Pittsburgh's tech and innovation ecosystem, just follow us. I'll see you on the next one.